Happy Wednesday, my winners and goal getters. Thank you so much for tuning in to this week's edition of the Getting the Win Show. I am your host, Mellissa T, the procrastination bully. For today's episode, we are tackling efficiency. You've heard me say in a previous episode about becoming ruthless about your schedule, like ruthlessly cutting away the things that don't matter. So today, when I talk about efficiency, I'm going to be talking to you about how to more effectively assign your time. Yes, we've covered ruthlessly cutting things away, but in terms of the things that you've chosen to keep on your schedule, we're going to talk about ways, principles that you can use to be as effective as possible in assigning what you want to keep. Okay. So the first principle, this is something I recently learned, and I mean recently, like within the last couple of weeks. Shout out to Mustafa Ghonim. I heard this from him. He mentioned the concept of not delegating, but duplicating. So you've heard me talk about delegating tasks, right? Because of course, if there's a way for someone else to handle it for you, by all means, hand it off, right? But I like what he said. Don't delegate, duplicate. Because if you can find a way to duplicate yourself, whether that's with another person or with software or with a journal, whatever other way that you can replace yourself, then the task still gets done with or without any hazards of human capital, so to speak. And I don't say that in a negative sense or in a cold way. What I'm saying is you have more options. When we hear delegate, that's instantly with another person automatically. Whereas if you duplicate yourself, you have more options. It can be with another person or with a thing, with something that can be helpful. So that's principle number one in terms of what you have chosen to keep on your schedule, especially as it relates to your luxury item. Don't delegate, duplicate. It's very helpful. It's a very, very helpful concept. And for the record, this video is going to be short. I ain't trying to hold y'all, all right? I'm not trying to hold you on this one. But that's principle number one in terms of becoming more efficient with your time. Don't delegate, duplicate. Go through all of the things that you need to do. Find out if it's something that 100% requires a person, in which case, do everything I've shared in previous episodes. Like reach out to your network. Closed mouths don't get fed. If you're someone who has been struggling to ask for help, whether you struggle with it from the side of I can figure it out myself, because you might be more task oriented. Either you're very driven, you're very fast, you're visionary, so you're task oriented, you just about solving the problem and getting it done. Or you're on the opposite side, you're task oriented, but you're more methodical in your pace. You'll research a thing to figure it out and get it done. Either way, closed mouths still don't get fed. You can get it done much faster if you ask someone to help you, right? So if it involves asking somebody, by all means, still ask them. But in your task, if you find out that there's something that can be replaced with an app or replaced with some software, whether on your phone or on your computer, if that's something that can be done that way, then by all means do that and get your stuff done that way. So closed mouths don't get fed. Ask for help if you need to. Get clear on what needs human help and what can be done with a tool. And here's the next thing. And this is the meatier part of this efficiency topic that I want to leave with you. I recently learned this from Ed Milet, and shout out to Jim Quick, who is the brain expert, for sharing this as well. But the mind-blowing concept that Ed Milet shares is turning one day into three. And here's what he proposes. Break your day up into 3 blocks. And each of those 3 blocks counts as a day. Okay? So here are the 3 blocks. 6 a.m. to noon, 12 p.m. to 6 p.m., and 6 p.m. to midnight. When you break these into 3 individual days now, you're not just looking at one 24-hour day. You're looking at 3 days in 24 hours. And when you do that, it's a psychological, it's basically helping you collapse time. And you're much more ruthless then about what you add to your calendar. If you're seeing that you only have 6 hours for one day, the 6 a.m. to 12 noon, if your day is only 6 hours, you're much more critical about what you say yes to. And for those of us who are recovering procrastinators, we understand that this is all about impulse control. This is all about being careful about what we say yes to and what we say no to. Because the more things we say yes to, the more often we're telling ourselves no. The more often we're telling our luxury item no. So if you break your day up into 6-hour blocks that become 3 days, they'll become much more efficient. It'll be a lot easier to say no to stuff, because at that point, you're not so much, if this might be your struggle, you struggle to say no because you think you're hurting the person, or you may be offending them. It may be somebody you love, maybe somebody you care about, somebody you respect, somebody you want to work with. But here's the thing. When you're clear on what your luxury item is, and you've watched my previous episode and have chosen to break down the tasks necessary to reach that luxury item, you can make all of your decisions based on those individual tasks needed to lead to the luxury item. So when you say no, you're not so much saying no to the person. It's not anything personal anymore. So now we go from feelings to facts. You're saying no to something that will not serve your vision. You're saying no because it's not going to take you towards your luxury item. And you're just as focused as they are. This is the beautiful thing. You're just as focused as they are. And they'll respect you for that. They'll move on to the next person. They'll move on to the next person. So yeah, hopefully these concepts help you. We're all about efficiency on this episode. So in the beginning, don't delegate, duplicate. If you can find someone that operates similarly to you and can pass off some of those tasks if a human is required, then by all means do that. If it is a tool that can help you, by all means use that. And there are plenty of tools for that. And you guys will see me put information out here soon on the socials with helpful tools and apps that you can use. There are plenty of them out there. There's plenty of them out there. And a quick little asterisk as it relates to these apps. Don't get so caught up in the app that you end up being a productive procrastinator. You guys heard me talk about productive procrastination a couple episodes ago. Don't let the apps drown you in the tasks connected to the apps themselves, in terms of you inputting the data in the apps themselves to the point where you're no longer productive towards the goal. Like, don't do that, because that is a possibility. Don't get caught up in the weeds. My rule of thumb there is no more than 3 apps, just for the sake of reducing overwhelm and reducing decision fatigue. No more than 3 apps if you're going to use them, in terms of productivity or scheduling or habit forming or task tracking or habit tracking. No more than 3 apps. Okay. A lot of people have been raving about Notion. A lot of people love that one. There's another one called To Do It, I want to say, and Todoist, excuse me. And some rave about it. Some find it overwhelming. So by all means, do your homework and find out if that's something that would work for you. But again, I'll provide a more detailed list. Don't worry about it. But I just wanted to reiterate that principle for you, okay? Duplicate. Don't delegate, duplicate. The number 2 thing I mentioned was ask for help. Closed mouths don't get fed. You know what I mean? So don't think you can handle it all by yourself. That will defeat the efficiency part. Sure, you're dope. You're awesome. You'll get it done. But it's a lot easier and a lot faster if you can have a person or a piece of technology that can help you get it done while you're still working on the stuff that you're working on. And then this last concept, in terms of becoming more efficient, is imagining that you have 3 days in your one set of 24 hours. You have 6-hour days now. 6 a.m. to noon, that's one day. 12 p.m. to 6 p.m., that's your second day. 6 p.m. to midnight, that's your third day in one set of 24 hours. You'll become much more ruthless about what you say yes to and what you say no to, especially if you're already clear on the tasks you need to do to get to your luxury item. It is all about becoming far more ruthless about your time. Protect your time. Treasure it. Because while your goal is a luxury item, time is also a luxury item. It is by far the most luxurious item that you have, because you can't get it back once you invest it. When it comes to procrastination, that's spending, right? We know that. When we choose the distraction, that's spending the time, that's burning it up. But whatever you say yes to, that is an investment of your time. So your time is by far the greatest luxury item that you possess. And then there's your goal. And it's the fuel for your goal. So be sure to safeguard it. Treat it like it's precious, because it is. You don't get it back. You can economize the time going forward, which is the purpose of this episode, talking about efficiency. But for sure, it is the most important resource you have. So guard it, fight for it. And if you're someone who struggles to say no, view it from the perspective of your luxury item, your goal. If the person is asking you to do something that doesn't go towards that, it's nothing personal against the person if you say no. You're saying no to protect your time and to protect your luxury item, your goal. You have a purpose to work towards. So now there's no longer any emotional gymnastics you got to go through. This won't get me any closer to that. And go back a few episodes, I did draft some different ways to respectfully and professionally say no, if that's something you struggle with. Like I said, y'all, this was a quick one. I ain't gonna hold you. My day is long. I've got a long one, so I wanted to drop this on you today. Take it with you, put it in your back pocket. If you have questions, be sure to hit me up on YouTube. Subscribe there at Getting the Win. On Instagram, Pinterest, and Threads, you can follow me at Getting the Win Show. But by all means, if you have any questions about this, I'm happy to answer them. And let me know where you are in your luxury item. How far are you in the journey? So right now we're in season 3, right? If you've been rocking with me from the beginning, where are you in that journey? How far along are you? And do you need my help with anything? If so, let me know. Like, if you have questions towards your luxury item specifically, let me know. Like, I'm happy to help you get there faster. Okay? Let's get this done. Let's get these goals, right? We goal getters out here. In the meantime, though, have a great and productive rest of your Wednesday and a great and productive rest of your week. Peace.